What got you starting into cosplaying?
A lot of little things, to be honest. I made most of my costumes as a kid for Halloween, and I've been going to the local comic convention since it started, and nobody really dressed up when it first started, but it slowly picked up pace, and I did it one day. I just decided I was going to do it, and people loved it. People wanted me around them all the time, and I was like, well, this is cool, so I'm just going to do this forever.
So, do you remember the first outfit that you wore when you got started cosplaying?
Yes, I was the Wicked Witch of the West.
And as far as the costume that you made it yourself, was there anything added on there in particular?
That costume had been a gift for me. My brother had worked at one of those pop-up Halloween shops, and he bought one of the high-end ones for me, and so I didn't modify it. I just put it on, but I did do about 2.5 hours worth of body paint to be green, so that was as far as the modification went on my first costume.
Yeah, that was the word I wanted to add to that question, modifications. That's definitely a word that's thrown out there a lot. It definitely takes a lot of hard work putting these costumes together.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's one thing to vision it, like, I see this character, I wanna bring it to life. I wanna be that character. It's another to buy the costume and modify it and make it into a reality and show it off in front of family and friends and things like that. So when you got started into cosplaying, what were your family's reaction to it? Were they behind it? Did they support it? Like, what was their reaction when you said you want to be a cosplayer?
Yeah, so my mom is very supportive. She and I have sewing parties, and she's a seamstress for hire, so the two of us will break out our sewing machines and just hang out all day working on different projects. My dad thought it was a little goofy, and every year goes by, he thinks that I'm a little too old to do it, but he thinks what I create is really cool, and he's really proud of my talent. He just, I think he wishes I was like a CEO somewhere or a brain surgeon or something instead of a goofy internet model.
Hey, we all nerds, so we gotta, and it's cool. Like, being a nerd, it's a matter of going for what you want and, embracing it. Sometimes people get it, sometimes people don't. But you figured out right away who supports you and who doesn't. So
I did.
And you keep doing you.
Thanks.
You made it this far in cosplaying. Why stop now? It's introduced you to fans. It's introduced you to fellow cosplayers, and it's gotten you to be at conventions, and you definitely made a name for yourself. And cosplaying can get a bad rap at times. People can look at it as beyond dressed up. People want to look at it as competition or whatever.
Yeah.
So what do you consider the biggest con when it comes to cosplaying? The one thing that drives you nuts about it?
Oh, absolutely. It's the judgment that everybody has. I mean, it's weird to say, but as people, like, we all have snap judgments of things. It's how we know, everything is safe or good or bad or whatever. So that's in the costume world, and unless you're actually in a costume contest, I just feel like the judgment doesn't need to happen. Who cares if this costume could have been better, or if this cosplayer could have done this differently? Like, I don't need to hear it. So if you don't have anything nice to say about it, if there's not one particular piece that you want to know how I made or whatever, you can keep your opinions to yourself, because small things, like, it can get to you. It can really break yourself down. I made a Nebula costume when the first Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and I did not want to do a bald cap or go bald, so I got a black wig like she wears in the comics before this, and just one sentence on the internet said it was the worst costume he had seen that year, and I was like, nope, so I never wore that costume again. And it's just the small thing like that. So I really just wish people would calm down on the judgments, and we could just, admit that we're all having fun playing dress up.
It's very unfortunate that, and I get it, people are going to have their opinions and things like that. It happens. And, but, every now and then you're going to run into someone that says mean things. And, I'm sure all of us have gotten those negative messages, comments, posts, things like that. Whether it's a costume, whether it's what you say or what you didn't say, and cosplay could be one of those things when people can easily nitpick, but it's, at the end of the day, it's about, dressing up. It's about, what is confidence, it builds confidence, and, it's a matter of just going out there and having fun, enjoying yourself, and, and people who saying these things, either they have a bad day and they want to take it out on somebody, or maybe that person had a bad experience at the con or whatever and took it out on someone. It's very unfortunate, but that there are some good cosplayers out there that does it for the right reasons, and then there are those that just they could be a little snobby about it. It's very unfortunate.
I agree. I don't know too many of the ones that are snobby. I don't tend to keep those connections. So I've surrounded myself with pretty positive people, and there's a ton of really talented and I guess respectful and respectable cosplayers where I'm from in Kansas City. So I really love this town, and I love the people in it. So it's a nice experience 90% of the time.
So I gotta say, my favorite costume for you, and I've been looking through the photos and everything. I gotta say, I like the flare on photo.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I definitely like it with the bunny ears, and I think it's orange and yellow. You got the orange hair.
Yeah.
That is an awesome costume. I gotta give it to you on that one.
Thank you. Yeah, that Flareon's like my favorite Pokemon, and I wanted to make it into a cute kind of pin-up, kind of Lolita dress, and we did a whole group of the various little EVs and had 10 different women dressed up as it. It was a lot of fun. I really like it, and I think I'm going to wear that one at my next convention. It's just a comfy, fun costume.
So, with that being said, Pokemon Go, excuse me, came out last year, and it was hyped. It was a number one topic, obviously.
Yeah.
Did you get into playing Pokemon Go?
I did. I still play it. I don't play it every day like I did, but it's a fun way to gamify my exercise. I turn it on, next thing you know, I've walked 3-4 miles. So it's a fun little time waster.
And, it kind of makes me wonder, like, do I got Pokemons in my own apartment that I didn't know of? I mean, it's very...
Oh, I bet you do. I had a Snorlax sitting on my couch one day. So, yeah, I'd bring a Pokemon in your house.
So before I let you go, two quick questions for you. As far as conventions, what are some of the conventions you got coming up that you're planning on attending?
I have 3 conventions coming up in the rest of the year, so slow travel. Mo GameCon in St. Louis, August 11th and 12th. Yes, and I'm going to Colorado Springs Comic-Con at the end of August, and Kansas City Comic-Con the second weekend in November.
So if you all are in those areas, go check out SirynRae Cosplay and stop by, say hello, take a picture, buy her stuff and her photos, show your support. Support your local cosplayers.
Woo!
So, and lastly, social media links, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go and promote your links where people need to check you out at.
Sure. I have a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My handles are all SirynRae, SirynRae. And I also have a Patreon if you want to see like some cool work in progress stuff, or if you want to help me decide on costumes, that's the place to do it. And I also have a store on Store Envy, and all the handles for those are just SirynRae. So not too hard to memorize. Once you got one, you got them all.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And again, my apologies for the mishap a little bit earlier. But in the end, things went real nice and smoothly. And, you're in Missouri. You're doing your thing there. It's not it's not far from a certain state called Kentucky where I actually live in. And we got a Comic-Con. Lexington Comic-Con, similar to Kansas City Comic-Con, and I don't know people from Lexington's Comic-Con, but I'm just gonna pull it out there. Please book SirynRae Cosplay. Bring her to Kentucky.
Yes, I want to go to Kentucky.
So I'm just gonna put that out there. But thank you so much for your time. Continued success. You have a good night. Have a good weekend.